how big of a concern is climate change on the future of work? And, maybe talk a little bit, if you want, about Australia and what's happening there with the tragic wildfires, but in general too works.
Yeah, yeah. I I tend not to like the term climate change because when I hear climate change, I don't know what I'm supposed to do about it.
Mm,
Now, if I hear the word pollution, I know what to do about
mm,
it. And I think we're mucking up the whole topic by using climate change. It assumes that sometime in the past climate was normal, which it never was. But it's also, I don't know, we can get our mind wrapped around it better if we just stick with the core pollution issue.
hmm
Uh, and so I think we're going to have a number of opportunities associated with that. Um, but uh, yeah, see, every problem creates an opportunity. And so I think if we look at it from that through that lens, and and then somehow sync up with what exactly do we want people to do about it? Um, I, I quite frankly don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Right,
Uh, I think that's the way most people are. So,
right,
yes,
fair,
running around being concerned, well, that doesn't help.
right.
Uh,
Well, how do you feel about recycling or composting? I mean, do you feel like actions on an individual level help mitigate pollution, or is it something
yeah,
that top
I
down?
think I think that's where we have the real challenge because somehow we have to change human behavior. Now, I know when I go to a recycling, um, there's always this array of options.
Right,
Oh, this is for plastic recycling, this is for regular trash, this is for glass recycling. Quite frankly, I don't know which goes in where. And
mm,
I'm pretty sure that if you ask the average person, that they aren't going to know which one goes in where.
definitely.
And and so I think there's a huge opportunity for somebody to simplify all of that. We've suddenly made it way too complicated for the average person. Um, I've often said that I think the most valuable land in the future is going to be our landfills.
Mm,
Um, I think our landfills are chocked full of all of our most valuable natural resources. So sometime in the future, somebody's going to invent an artificial robotic earthworm that digs through and mines it all out, and then we can reuse it all again.
mm,
Uh, but I think that if we have to take conscious action to do something to preserve the planet, we're less likely to do that. If something is automatically designed to, like if we put carpet in our house and then when we tear it out, it takes 20,000 years for it to disintegrate, that's not a good product. We
right,
need to design that up front so it works better. When we're putting all of our trash in plastic bags, then we have all this thin film plastic that builds layers and layers of insulation in our trash dumps out there. Somehow that needs to degrade on its own. We can't consciously make decisions to
right.
somehow uh, incinerate those plastic bags. We take human behavior out of the equation,
Yes.
uh, and let it happen naturally. So if we can design things up front where we don't have to consciously think about it,
Mm,
every every piece of human decision making adds friction to the equation. So
right.
we should eliminate that if we can at all possibly do that.
Mm. And then as for this sort of backlog of old, household items, things that can't easily be broken down or recycled, sort of, we just have to wait for somebody to figure out a way to reuse or
Yeah,
recycle them.
yeah, we've created this massive industry in the storage world.
Right.
Uh, we all own too damn much stuff.
Mm,
And if somebody hands you a present for Christmas and you know you're never going to use it, you don't walk over and dump it into a trash can. You have to put it on a shelf and age it for a while.
mm.
And so depending on who it is, determines how long you have to age that thing before you dispose of it. Uh,
Sounds like a fine cheese or something.
and so we have this entire industry that's cropped up around kind of aging all these things that we don't want to get into that mindset
Mm,
this disposal mindset of we should just get rid of all this stuff.
right.
And so the storage industry is just mushrooming,
Mm,
growing up all over the place. And so somehow we need to pare back this dependence on all of these things that we're never going to use. And it's all this clutter that we have in our lives. Yeah.
definitely. There's a lot of that clutter. So would you say you're a fan of minimalism or sort of the Maria Kondo method where we just throw things out, just get rid of it?
My wife's really good at that.
Yeah.
I'm less good at it, but
Hmm.
I think that we can live our lives much more efficiently with
Sure.
relatively less belongings associated to ourselves. So
Right. We definitely have a bit more than we need most of the time.
yeah, absolutely.
Certainly as Americans, there's an emphasis, the culture tells us to buy more and, surplus
Right,
is never enough. Right.
right, absolutely, absolutely.